All right, so now we're ready to trim up the head plate and get the neck ready for the body. Remember the other day, I glued the head plate on. Let's take off my clamps here. So I've got a lot of excess material here, and I'm just going to take it over the bandsaw. Trim that off. I'm not going to trim very close to the back because the bandsaw is going down that way, and I get a lot of chip out on this side. So I'm going to end up doing that on the sander later, and you'll see that. You can see I left about a 1/4 inch there, but I'm going to go right up next to the sides. You might want to come in like that. Okay, now I'm going to mark for my heel. And I've got this little thing that we made that's got a dovetail in it. We made it out of mahogany, and it's got the shape of the heel that I want. So it's a nice little marking template. Okay. Now, over to the disc sander to sand off that excess. All right, next thing I'm going to do, how are we doing on time there?
2.5 minutes.
Okay. So here I've got a piece of ironwood. Got these nice templates that Ben made. This one is exactly the length of the tenor. So in other words, if I put that piece of wood with its 15-degree break, so it goes straight up and down right there. If I put it right up against that jig, then I know I'm going to get a square cut for the nut, and that's where the back of the nut's going to go. Just getting it exactly in position. And I'm going to even get a chance to square that up more later. Now I use a fret saw for this, and I'm going to go right up against that. It's just important that the saw not have any kerf that goes off that left side. Putting a little bit of pressure on it with my thumb. I'm also looking. I'm going to watch as I go through this. I'm looking for my black veneer, and I've just seen it, so now I'm going to be really careful because I don't want to damage the neck. Now, I love LMI's chisels, I gotta say. They are just so super sharp. This is end grain that I'm going to chisel, which those of you who do woodworking know, it's just impossibly difficult to trim end grain. And yet, look at this chisel do it. So what I'm doing is riding up against my piece of wood here, right up in there. just getting this perfectly flat. And now I'm just going to make sure that there's no little remaining fibery bits from our decorative piece of black fiber. That's all I'm doing there. All right. Last thing I want to do, I talk a lot about order of operations. So if you remember, Ben sanded that. I think he sanded it to 120 in his shop. But before we put finish on it, I want to machine sand to 320. Thing is, once I get that fretboard on here, there's really no way for my machine to get all the way to that edge. So now is the time to sand that. So let's do that. I'm over here at the downdraft. This is great paper. It's Abranet, which is a total mesh. And so on the bottom of this Makita, it just does great with the vacuum. And then the downdraft, which you've seen before, sucks dust in. So this is just great for dust collection. Now go into 180 sandpaper. Sorry, that was actually 220. I started with 180, 220, now 320. Every time I turn on my sander, it automatically turns on that vacuum down there. So it's really nice in that way. What you see me doing after each pass with the sander is holding it up to this light. It's a bright halogen light. I love halogen lights for jobs like this. They're all over the shop. They're the best in the light spectrum to use. And you saw Ben do it and Carrie do it. You've seen Aaron do it. We hold it in that light and you get a reflection and you can see when sanding scratches go away. So at first I wanted to make sure that all the linear scratches were gone and Ben had done his job well. And then each time through, I wanted to try to see that my previous deeper orbital tracks were all gone. So I've sanded to 320 and we're good to go.